If a tree falls in the middle of an empty forest, and no one is there to hear it fall, will it still make a sound? Come to think of it, if a podcast drops on the internet and no one is listening, will it still suck?
Okay, we did the one. Good afternoon, one and all, and welcome to the first episode of the spring season of A Very Odd Caster. And yes, it's time to go outside and smell the roses and look at the sky and listen to the birds chirping. It's a great time of year, that's for sure. Speaking of birds, so a very close acquaintance of mine, who shall remain nameless to protect her identity, was on a plane recently, headed to the sunny state of Florida to begin a week vacation basking in the sun, to kick off spring, the spring season. And her plane took off, and about a half hour on the way to Florida, they had to turn around and go back to DC, where she flew out of. And the reason was because a flock of birds crashed into the cockpit windshield, splattering blood all over the windshield and screwing up the plane's radar, most importantly. And so pilot had to turn the plane around, head on back to the airport, and they were grounded for hours while they fixed the issue. They did eventually get back up in the air and get on down to Florida. But I had told my acquaintance prior to booking that flight, I said, whatever you do, don't fly Air Fabio. Every Thursday I'll be here. So, I don't know if you remember that, though. It's 10, maybe 20 years ago, I don't know. But Fabio, you know who Fabio is. Fabio, the dude with flowing hair. He's the model that appears on all the covers of the romance novels, right? The girl's in his arms looking up at him, and his hair is flowing. He's like, yes, I am Fabio. So yeah, he was a thing for a long time, but he did this public appearance at an amusement park. I can't remember which amusement park. Six Flags Over Hell. No, I don't know. Somewhere. And Fabio, with the flowing mane, is on a roller coaster. And, they're like everybody, Well, a seagull swoops in out of nowhere and crashes right into poor Fabio's forehead. His face, actually. He got a bloody nose, and he got seagull guts all over his face. And there's a picture of it. Look, there it is. Poor Fabio, but it was the funniest thing because it's just such a contradiction. This smooth model for the romance novels, the flowing hair, the hunk or whatever you want to call it. And he's there on a damn roller coaster and he gets hit in the face with a seagull. You just can't write that stuff, man. Oh, I got an idea. So we'll put Fabio on this roller coaster, right? We'll surround him with women swooning over him. They're just looking up at him like, he's dreamy. And the roller coaster go up, and then it comes down and everybody raises their hands like, oh, I'm going down the hill with Fabio. And then out of nowhere, a seagull will come and crash right into Fabio's nose. Just imagine coming up with that. The other writers are going to be like, what the fuck is he on? It's a good thing we don't worry about continuity here on A Very Odd Caster, because I just spilled water all over my shirt and it looks like I've been lactating. Back to Fabio on the roller coaster. So that's insane, right? And there's been a few examples over the years of celebrities and wildlife, and these bizarre things. If you remember Sharon Stone, the beautiful Sharon Stone of Basic Instinct fame. Don't uncross those legs. Oh, she did it. No. So Sharon Stone's husband and her were, I guess, at a zoo somewhere, at a private tour of a zoo. I don't really know what zoo it was, because it was a long time ago. And they went inside a cage of a Komodo dragon. And the zookeeper told Sharon Stone's husband, who was wearing white tennis shoes, you better take those shoes off, because it might confuse the dragon and he might think it's the white rats we feed it. And so Sharon Stone's husband, Bronstein maybe? Says, oh, sure. Pulls off his white tennis shoes. He's there in bare feet. And lo and behold, the Komodo dragon gets his feet confused with the white rats. And the Komodo dragon comes over and takes a chomp out of the poor guy's foot. And, they have like venom or, in their teeth or something. In their glands, I guess. Komodo dragons, when they bite their prey, it's sort of like a snake, Well, they're both reptiles. They're both from the reptile family. So the Komodo dragon bites its prey and releases venom, just like a rattlesnake would do, or any kind of venomous snake. So the poor guy, he's in trouble. They had to whisk him away to the ER, and I think he recovered and everything, but I think he had surgery and everything. That's some scary crap. But then again, you're thinking, oh, hey, what are you doing today, dear? I don't know. What do you feel like doing? I haven't been inside the cage of a Komodo dragon in a while. Hey, I'm up for it. Let's go. Yeah, so there's a lot of these weird stories with celebrities having misadventures with animals. Jessica Lange once got kidnapped by a gorilla. So did Fay Wray, by the way. I think I'm getting reality mixed up with fiction. Maybe not. Anyhow, so, but there's a lot of incidents. These incidents are not really humorous unless we make them that way. But a lot of them are serious and even deadly. You remember, it was like 20 years ago, the Las Vegas act Ziegfeld and Roy, who used to do all these exotic things with all these exotic animals, tigers and whatnot. And poor Roy, something went wrong. He's done these performances thousands of times. Something went wrong, and the tiger said, I ain't listening today to you, pal. And went at Roy. Freaking grabbed him. and dragged him off the stage. And Roy was never the same. It was, woo! Could you imagine being in the crowd there? Is this part of the act? Whoa, man. I'm surprised that people didn't run screaming for the exit. Gosh, that's just chilling. I mean, you ought to look that up. But really scary stuff. And then, of course, one of my favorite, I used to always watch Animal Planet. And one of my favorite dudes was the crocodile hunter. Loved it. When my kids were little, I used to play crocodile hunter with them. I'd talk like Steve Irwin. And I'd say, she's gorgeous, with his giant crocodile, And kids loved it. They just crack up. Well, then you know what happened to poor Steve. He was swimming kind of on top of a stingray, or right above it. And he pissed off the stingray, and the thing stabbed him with his tail, and Steve died, man. It was horrible. So a lot of stuff is, you got to be careful with wildlife. It's beautiful, and we got to take care of it, but keep your distance, man. There's been other bizarre celebrity deaths, not involving animals. Remember that there was a guy called the Great Wallenda. The Wallenda family, they were tightrope walkers. They would walk all across the sky from building to building all over the world. And Carl Wallenda, the patriarch of the family, fell to his death in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I know someone else who fell to his death in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Just kidding. Oh, and then there was that actor Vic Morrow, who died in an accident on set of the making of the film The Twilight Zone. Imagine, if you will, what could go wrong with a movie like that. So what happened was there was this scene, a fiery scene, where Vic Morrow was saving a couple of kids, I think, and he's trying to get them out of harm's way. Maybe it was one kid, I don't remember, but the helicopter being used in the scene crashed, and crashed on him with the propellers going. And yep. He died. He died in a helicopter accident on the set. And maybe that was just payback for when he slapped that kid in Bad News Bears. No, it was really a bad thing. I can't remember if the kids in that scene survived or was it? I don't remember. I don't think I want to know. But that was a sad thing. Then, of course, there was the more recent tragedy with Alec Baldwin on the set of the movie Rust, where this gun shot itself and killed the cinematographer. And Alec was a little late to his gun control protest later that day. But that was bizarre, I think. Alec's in some trouble, obviously he didn't know the thing was loaded. Obviously, but you don't go pointing a damn thing at another person, right? So there's all sorts of shit going on there. It's very ironic because, of course, gun control is a major deal that virtually all of Hollywood supports, right? Now I know why. So yes, the darndest things seem to happen to celebrities. I don't know, maybe there is a deal with the devil you make to become famous. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I mean, my vast audience for this show, all two of you, could possibly shed some light on that. And one thing I don't like about this spring is that it is tax season. I mean, accountants love tax season because they ring in the bucks. Get it. They love it and they must hate it because, geez, they're busy. But as far as the people doing their taxes, paying their taxes, not fun. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing more satisfying than looking around and seeing all the good that your hard-earned money goes to. Okay. I'm waiting. I don't know. So I struggled to get my taxes done this year. And I believe that, we should just blow up the whole system, not literally, and come up with another way, I had this idea of sort of self-selected tax contributions, right? Let's stay with me here, okay? So I'm not talking about, oh, Mr. Wilson, I see that you only want to pay 2 cents in taxes this year. Well, okay, have at it. Have a nice year. Nothing like that. So there's got to be some sort of a flat tax or a couple tiers, of tax brackets or whatever. But whatever it is, so let's just say a person has to pay 15% of their earnings to taxes. There should be some amount, probably half maybe, I don't know, that should automatically be taken out and go to specific causes, major causes, national defense, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, or some sort of health fund for people who can't afford it, right? Take half of it, automatically goes to that stuff. And then the person is left with the other half that they have to pay because it's the other part of the flat tax. But they get to choose where it goes. Wouldn't that be better? We'd have a much more engaged public, and they'd have a say in where their money's going. So, if a person is very impacted by, cancer, and they're like, I want, the other half of my tax payment to go to cancer research, for example. Or if it's something a little more rare, cystic fibrosis or something. Or you wanted to send the rest of it to St. Jude for the children's hospital where those poor kids are. You know what I'm saying? Give people the power and the control to say, okay, I have to pay this much. They're taking half of it or whatever and sending it to these things, okay. And I have to get rid of the rest of this. So I'm gonna do with it what I want to do with it, I'm gonna pay so little Jimmy can get a new leg. No. But you get my my gist here. You can probably do something like that at the state level too, right? I don't know. States would have different sort of priorities, I would think. Maybe not. Anyhow, but if people could do this, if people had a say in where their money is going, then they truly would feel that they have a government that is from the people and for the people, and not from the people and for the sleazeball politicians. So they can go to all the cocktail parties in D.C. And this would be another part of that. Let's just say someone's like, I don't know where to put the rest of it. I can't make it. Then you could opt out, and then the feds can do with it what they've been doing with it, which is God knows what. So anyhow, just an idea, right? I'm not running for any office. I mean, all you'd have to do is roll through my stupid ass things from my childhood, and that would disqualify me, don't you think? On to the world of sports. Recently, we wrapped up the college basketball season, and it was an interesting tournament. The men's tournament had a lot of upsets, although UConn just rolled. They just rolled right through it. How they lost so many games during the season, I don't really know. But when a team gets hot, they get hot. But the intrigue was on the women's side of things. And particularly in the final, when LSU bumped off Iowa, and particularly the controversial conclusion to that game when LSU's Angel Reese was taunting Iowa's Caitlin Clark by using something called the "you can't see me" gesture. And there's an uproar. And of course, it became racial because some folks go to bed dreaming of skin color. They dream of skin color during their sleep, and they wake up longing to discuss skin color. Look, I didn't watch it, right? But I kind of got the gist of it. And I think Angel Reese's take was that she was responding to something Caitlin Clark did in one of the previous games at the end of the game. Others are saying, oh, it was nothing like that. It was way worse, blah, 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 whatever. Bottom line is not very good sportsmanship, right? More on that in a minute. But this "you can't see me" gesture was apparently made famous by the World Wrestling Entertainment. The WWE is where that bit came from. And interestingly enough, the WWE has always been, and always will be, fake. So there's this uproar over something that happened in fake entertainment. That's kind of the problem with sports, not just at the college level, but in the pros too. With all the video games where everyone's flexing and doing WWE shit, that then they take it into real life and they act like that. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, but you're acting like that. It's like, I mean, this is sportsmanship, something that, we all learn about and are preached to from the time we were kids, right? I was a coach for a long time, and I always urged my young players, to show good sportsmanship. That I bought into totally. What I didn't buy into was the participation trophy mentality, or this idea that you shouldn't be really upset that you lost. I think you should be really pissed when you lose. And I liked when kids were really pissed when they lost. It showed they cared. This other, it's not really whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. No, it's whether you win or lose, motherfucker. Anyhow, but sportsmanship, of course, it would bother me terribly when someone on the other team or another coach was showing poor sportsmanship. It would make my blood boil. It would make me want to win more. it wouldn't want to make me play the game nicely more. It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. So some other coach is cheating, you're going to be like, well, I'm annoyed at him. I don't really care whether we win or lose. I just hope we keep playing the game. You know. Anyhow, but preaching sportsmanship is a good thing. When I was a kid, I remember a few incidents that of a lack of sportsmanship, and those are another stupid ass thing from my childhood. So we're going back to Little League. I'm going to say I was 13 or 14, and I had a bunch of my good friends on my team, and we were playing another team and that team had a bunch of good friends of mine too. So it was always a fun game. It was kind of a bragging rights thing, because we were a better team, of course. But they beat us, we beat them, so on and so forth. We wound up meeting in the championship, and it was a 3-game best of 3 series, and we won, but barely, 2-1. You know, we lost the first one. We had our backs against the wall and came back and won a close one. Anyhow, so there's kind of a rivalry here. A lot of buddies on that team. And this one game, it wasn't in the championship, it was during the season. The coach of the other team, who was the father of a friend of mine, was a hothead. And I forget what he was pissed at, but he went after the umpire. And the umpire was a pimply-faced 13-year-old kid or something like that, you know, or not much older than that. And this dude was a big, burly guy, and he got right in the poor kid's face. He was arguing something. I'm sure it probably was a bad call. I don't know. And I'm standing out there watching this, and the kid, you know, the acne on his face started to glow, because he just then he goes, "Coach, you're out of here." You know, with that much force. And the coach is like, "What? Coach, you're ejected. You have to leave the premises now." And then, like some of the other coaches, "Hey, come on. So the hothead coach, who, by the way, he was a good dude. He just had a temper. He just had his priorities a little skavoodoo. Had his priorities a little wrong. Finally, he turned and stalked off. And I remember I was out in the field, and I watched him stomping off away from the dugout, out into the road, and across towards the parking lot. And I remember thinking, how freaking embarrassing. You know, so I never got ejected as a coach, but you know, I felt like getting ejected a few times. But anyhow, that was another stupid ass thing from my childhood. Well, that is all for me this fine day. And I hope you have a good weekend. And we shall see you next time on A Very Odd Caster. If you would like to comment perhaps on my tax proposal, maybe you have one of your own you could share. Or anything else, please write to veryoddcaster@gmail.com. That's veryoddcaster@gmail.com. Take care and see you soon, perhaps.
Jabberwocky type, physical combat, crawling in the trenches.